Hey guys, it's Lucy Kate and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we have yet another Japan themed video, and in today's video I'm going to introduce some Japanese foods, desserts that I discovered when I moved to Japan, which I loved. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I post a wide variety of content on here: Japan content, Hawaii content because I'm living in Hawaii now, makeup content, vlogs, chit chats as well. And if you're not already, definitely hit the subscribe button. I try to upload every single weekend. If you're interested in Japan content, I have a Japan playlist which I'll link in the description box, basically talking about my life in Japan, tips on learning Japanese. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So in today's video, I believe I have 14 food items that I would like to introduce to you guys. So instead of introducing food which I loved, which I'd already eaten before, this video is more about foods which I discovered after moving to Japan. The first thing that I discovered was okonomiyaki. So okonomiyaki is a famous dish which is from the Osaka area. I'm not really quite sure how to explain it in English, so I'll just probably insert pictures and descriptions and whatnot, but I'd never eaten okonomiyaki before I moved to Japan. I love yakisoba, and I'd already eaten yakisoba before when I, went on vacation to Japan. I did have family living in Japan, so therefore I did vacation in Japan often, but today's video is more so things I discovered after moving there permanently. So yeah, okonomiyaki is one that I really love. Osaka's food is very strong. It has a very strong taste to it, like Nagoya. Depending on the areas in Japan, like even the miso and like the taste of the foods are different. So you can get weaker miso in the Kanto area, whereas Nagoya is famous for its like really strong miso. And Osaka has some pretty strong tasting food as well. So the second food that I really love, in Japan they have something called oden. Again, I don't know how to describe it in English, so I'll be lazy and just insert a description. I don't love all the things that are in oden. The thing that I love the most is daikon, and daikon in English is apparently called Japanese white radish. So it's a vegetable that I don't think you really eat in other cuisines. However, I love daikon in oden. Like, I love the taste of it. I love it. And I love in the winter seasons, you can get oden in the convenience stores and you can put it with udon as well. And it's a really cheap price as well. You can get like one daikon for like 90 yen. So super cheap, super cheap, and it tastes really good. And it's really a food that warms you up. Oden in general, but I specifically like the daikon in the oden. And the third food is ramen. So of course ramen I wasn't new to. I loved cup noodles, like the instant cup noodles, but when you're in Japan you get to explore so many different kinds of ramens. Like depending on the local area they have different tastes, and eating an instant cup ramen versus going to an actual ramen place, obviously the taste is more authentic and there's such a wide variety of flavors that you can try. So it's definitely an experience that everyone should do once in their time when traveling or living in Japan. And I'm very fortunate to be living in Hawaii, where there is many ramen stores here. Actually, we have local stores and we also have franchises from Japan that have stores here. However, the prices are like double or even triple in some cases. So yeah, definitely eat as much ramen as you can when you're in Japan because the prices are really cheap as well. The next two food items are actually noodle items as well, just because Japan has such a wide variety of noodle items. I didn't include it on this list, but one food I really love is the miso nikomi udon, which I often introduce in like my Japan hauls, Japan videos. It's a Nagoya famous Nagoya local dish. Love that, but I'm going to introduce two other things this time. Sticking with the udon theme, and udon which I really love is curry udon. If you didn't know, another famous homemade dish that many Japanese families eat is curry rice. So Japanese curry is different to, I guess, Indian curry and Thai curry. Normally it's not that spicy, but you can get hot versions as well. But it's basically curry with, carrots and potatoes, and you eat it with rice. Usually it has a sweet taste to it. And I love Japanese curry rice, but basically that curry on udon is curry udon. So it's like a curry soup with carrots and potatoes, in some cases meat inside it, with udon, and it's so good. I love it in the winter times, like it really keeps you warm, and well, anytime, even in summer I'd probably eat it if the AC was on. I love curry udon. You know, I guess curry udon you can make at home, like say there's Japanese foods at your local supermarket, you can get the curry base, get udon, and make it. So it is a dish that you can make and enjoy at home as well. And then the other noodle dish that I wanted to introduce was soba. So soba, I have to admit, I didn't actually like that much when I first moved to Japan. Like, I was 12 years old and I was used to the strong tastes. And I felt that soba was too healthy and it didn't taste of anything. But after a few years of living in Japan, I grew to really love soba. The simple taste is actually what makes it good. Like, it's not too heavy on the stomach, and it's the most healthiest noodle type. I think one of the most healthiest noodle types you can eat. And I really like eating warm soba with tempura. So tempura is something I'm actually going to introduce next. But yeah, you can get warm noodles and cold noodles in Japan. Not really a fan of cold food. Like, I love hot food and hot drinks. Anything hot I love. So that's why I usually order hot noodles. But another good thing is in the super humid, really hot Japan summer seasons, you can get cold udon and soba as well to cool you down. As I said, tempura was another thing I added onto the list because I love tempura. I mean, I love fried stuff, okay? I grew up in a Western culture. I love fried things. I love the unhealthy stuff. But it can get sickly, okay? It can kind of get sickly sometimes, like the batter. Whereas tempura, like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how they make the batter, but it's a fried food. It's a fried dish, which isn't sickly, and it goes great with udon. So I personally, the way I like to eat my tempura is dipping it in the udon, like the udon soup. But you can also eat it, you know, with on the side by itself with salt, or like dip it into like a sauce or ponzu or something. Tempura I love. You can get tempura of basically anything, like vegetables and fish and meat in some cases. But yeah, I love tempura. So tempura and udon are like a match made in heaven. And I think I just uploaded this video like a month ago or 3 weeks ago, a video introducing Japanese food stores in Hawaii. Luckily we have mini udon stores, so I'm still able to enjoy udon and tempura. And I think the last savory thing we have on the list is a salad dressing, which I know sounds really weird, but there's a salad dressing that I love in Japan called goma dressing. In English it's called sesame dressing. It's not a dressing you would typically find on the menu for like salads in restaurants in, you know, the US or UK or the UK. But I love this dressing. I'm not really good with describing taste. It tastes good. It's not too salty. It's a little sweet, I guess. It goes really well with like lettuce, and like it's a little creamy, but it's not creamy. Really love this dressing. I mean, there's a wide variety of dressings you can find in Japan, like Japanese style dressings that you wouldn't find in other countries. So yeah, that was the first half of the food. So the first half of food was savory things, and for the remaining 7 things I have 2 sweets and then 5 drinks. So this is ichigo daifuku. I love this so much. I've always loved mochi. I've always loved like Japanese sweets, but my love for ichigo daifuku is on a whole other level. So basically it's a daifuku, like white mochi covered in powder, and inside there's a strawberry, and there's usually some kind of azuki, so like either the koshi-an or the shiro-an, the white bean paste or red bean paste. There's many different types, but I love this. This is like my childhood favorite. Like when I first moved to Japan, I loved it. I would always get it. I mean, I love Japanese sweets, but out of all of them, I guess ichigo daifuku, well, it's hard to choose one, but yeah, love ichigo daifuku. And there was one point where there was this like phase where fruits daifuku, so basically fruit daifuku was really popular at one point, and not just strawberry, but they'd have like grape daifuku, orange daifuku, any fruit you can think of inside the daifuku. And yeah, it was popular at one point, but I'm not sure now. But oh my gosh, I love ichigo daifuku so much. And then oh my gosh, I didn't add this on the list, but I'm gonna add another one. Sorry, so it's not 14 things, it's 15 things in this list. But I just remembered another thing I love is azuki sandwiches. Azuki is, you know, red bean. And in my area of Japan, Nagoya, the Aichi area, we love to eat azuki toast. Okay, basically toast with red bean on top. Love it, it's so good. And you can also get it in a sandwich version as well, so like butter and azuki and bread. And I used to take that to lunch for school. Like I loved it. So azuki sandwiches and azuki toast is another thing that I just remembered that I'm gonna add on this list. Okay, the next thing we have, this is the last sweets dessert thing, is castella. So castella isn't actually Japanese, if that makes sense. Like it originates from, I believe, Portugal or Spain. I think it's Portugal. But it was brought to Japan, and since then it's become one of the local desserts in Japan. It's basically a sponge cake, and then the top and the bottom is like a little sweet, and you can get all kinds of castellas like matcha and like, yeah, all different kinds of flavors. The basic one is honey flavored castella. Love it. It's such a nice sponge cake it's such a nice sponge cake that isn't too sickly. So yeah, castella I recommend as well. If you're going to Japan and you want to bring back some foods as a souvenir, you can get like boxes of castellas or packets of castellas at the airport or souvenir stores as well. I decided to add drinks because I feel like drinks are often overlooked when people introduce like their favorite Japanese like food drink items, but there's so many unique drinks that you can find in Japan. The first one I would like to introduce is this right here. So this is called royal milk tea in Japanese, in katakana. It's basically milk tea, but it's a sweet milk tea. So you can find ice milk teas and hot milk teas in Japan. But usually if it has a royal in front of it, if it's royal milk tea, it usually means it's a slightly sweetened milk tea. So think of it as like, you know, in America you have Southern iced tea, right, which is usually sweet. Basically it's like the version of that in Japan, like milk tea that is sweet. But yeah, they do really good iced teas in Japan, like the Lipton brand. They sell it in the convenience store. They have lots of versions of iced teas. You can get sweetened ones and unsweetened ones depending on the season. They do like apple iced tea, peach iced tea, and they all taste really good. And okay, so the next two drinks are Japanese teas next, and they are hojicha and kurogomacha. And kurogoma is black sesame, but both of these flavors of teas I'd never tried before. I mean, I'd had Japanese green tea before, but after moving to Japan, I discovered hojicha and kurogomacha, and both of them are really good taste. Like when they're regular hot teas, they're not sweet. They're like, you know, a bitter Japanese traditional tea. But another thing I discovered that I like is the sweets that are themed around those tastes. There's matcha, right? And you can get all kinds of matcha flavored stuff like matcha ice cream, matcha cakes, you know, those kind of things. Basically, you can get the same for these in Japan. You can get kurogoma, black sesame ice cream, black sesame milkshake, hojicha ice cream, hojicha sponge cake. Love it. I love those, how would you say it, themed sweets that are themed around these tastes. I really love. Next one is canned coffees. Another unique one, but you know, Japan has a vending machine culture, convenience store culture, and one thing you will definitely find is canned coffees in the vending machines, you know, at the train stations, anywhere. And I love it. I think that the canned coffees in Japan are very good quality. Usually the canned coffees are sweet, I do have to say. They're not usually bitter unless it says on the label unsweetened, black, or like espresso. Usually the canned coffees tend to be on the sweeter side, but they taste so good. One thing I love about Japan is, you know, they have cold and hot drinks in the vending machines. In the summer I would get the cold one. In the winter I would get the hot one to keep warm. Every time I had a photo shoot that was early in the morning, you know, I'm not really good at waking up early, okay? So I would wake up and I wouldn't have that much time to like drink coffee slowly at home. So I would just get ready, and before I get on the train, I would get a canned coffee, hop on the train, and then head to the photo shoot. So yeah, I love canned coffees. There's so much variety. You can get black coffees and lattes as well. So vending machines itself is a really cool experience, I think, in Japan. Like, it's so weird, you know, looking back on my life in Japan. Like when I first went to Japan, even before I moved to Japan, I was so amazed at the culture in Japan and all this technology. And the first year I was really amazed, but of course I didn't have an iPhone to capture those things because I was 12 years old and I didn't have an iPhone. It was before the iPhone generation. And after living in Japan for a few years, everything just became so normal to me that I didn't think to take pictures or like, you know, that many videos of all these everyday things. And now I'm like, I wish I took pictures, I wish I took footage, because now it feels so special looking back. So yeah, when I go on vacation, I will have to take so much stuff, like film all the stuff, try all the stuff. We have one last thing on the list, and that is sports drinks. So the main two brands you can find in Japan is Pocari Sweat and Aquarius. I know the names are a little weird, let's be honest, but these are basically sports drinks or drinks you would have when you're feeling ill, when you feel dehydrated. It hydrates you. So these were lifesaver to me, even when I feel ill or when I get heat stroke, which is very frequently in the Japanese summer, because Japanese summers, it's like over 40 degrees. It's so hot. Not only is it hot, it's humid. There's no cool breeze. Even if you get a breeze, it's gonna be a warm breeze. I mean, depending on the prefecture, it might differ a little bit, but in Aichi, it was super, super hot. 40 to 42, yeah. So it was super, super hot. And I'm not good with the heat. I get dehydrated and dizzy easily. I have my whole pot situation, so it was hard, okay? Japan summer is the one thing I do not miss. Yeah, Pocari and Aquarius would be lifesavers to me because it hydrates you up. It's easier to drink than regular water because it's a little sweetened. Like it has a little sugar in it, it has salt in it, electrolytes. So it's basically really, really good. I mean, you can find Gatorade in America as well, but it's a different taste. But it's a different taste. In my opinion, it's a different taste. So if you travel to Japan in the summer, you have to get one of these. Keep drinking them to stay hydrated, to make sure you don't faint in the heat. That was it, you guys, on my 15 foods and drinks that I discovered when I moved to Japan, which I loved and recommend to you. Of course, there's many more, but we would be here all day if I introduced all the drinks and foods and desserts that I love in Japan. And I know I keep saying this in my Japan content, but we do have Japanese supermarkets here in Hawaii, and it would be fun to do a taste test. I'm just saying it would be fun to do like taste tests and reviews. So but I don't want to buy everything and then, you know, no one wants to watch it. So if you want to see those kind of like food, drink reviews, please let me know in the comments and I would be more than happy to do that. And if you have any other requests regarding like, you know, Japan or life in Japan or studying Japanese, I'd be more than happy to make a video related to that as well. And you know, this video was so fun that I plan on doing a Hawaii version. So I plan on actually doing a Hawaii version of this, which will probably be uploaded the week after this video. So stay tuned for my Hawaii version of foods and drinks I discovered that I love since moving to Hawaii. And that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. If you're not already, definitely hit the subscribe button for nearly weekly content. And that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye guys!